Welcome back, everyone, to episode 2 of the North Korea series for Geopolitical Simulator 5. And in this episode, we're going to try to do some trade deals to try to bring in some more income. And we're also going to look to boost our production on different items to trade. And we're going to, let's see. Yeah, I got rid of the national service last episode. So we're going to try to boost up the military. Um, we don't have any imminent threats, so there's really no need to try to ramp everything up all at once. We're going to try to do it gradually, even though, Japan and South Korea are hostile towards us, along with Taiwan. And they're in close proximity, so we'll figure a way to deal with them. But also, we're not looking to start any wars. We're mainly trying to strengthen our economy and our country overall. So we have a surplus pretty close
The
to
decree
1%.
takes effect as of today.
So we're going to look at some countries that we can create trade deals with. So automatically right off the bat, it's going to be Russia, Iran, Syria, Brazil, oh, not Brazil, Venezuela and Cuba. All right, so we don't have any free trade agreements, so let's go with the first one. Um, the decent size economy is going to be Russia. So we're going to send that agreement to them. We're going to go after Iran. Next. Actually, we're going to do Cuba. And if there's any aggression from the US, we're going to try to seek a possible military base within Cuba. And I know that's not going to go over very well. But luckily, the AI doesn't have that mindset on how that's an imminent threat. So we'll play on that. And looks like Zimbabwe is extremely friendly towards us too. So we'll go after trade deal with them also. All right, so that's done. And we'll see who comes back with a signing the agreement. All right, so unemployment is at 3.57. Okay, so one of the things we can do is, all right, so see this little narrow road. maybe we could build a train to that location. Let's see how much that would cost. So we did a high-speed train from Pyongyang to... I'm not going to even try to pronounce that. That is going to cost $4.3 billion that we do not have. So we're probably going to have to just wait a little bit before we really start building up the infrastructure.
I believe I must remind you here and now of the various elements that can impact the effectiveness of the infantrymen in combat. So, in no particular order, the strength of the military, the quality of the armaments, the quality of the military education and training, salary levels, the legitimacy of the conflict, of course, especially if the soldier has to defend their homeland on their own soil. Shifts in the conflict, such as territorial gains or losses inflicted on the enemy, weapons suppliers, moral support, including
Okay, yeah,
coming from.
we get the message already.
Our infiltrated agent is on site.
Alright. Alright, so let's go to the military. Let's go to our budget. Equipment for infantry is 2 million. Um, let's try to... So how much for... Let's go with 46 mil. Alright. Alright. So we're going to bump that up to 450. That took down some of our surplus.
It would behoove me to provide you with a short summary of the various tactics of our infantry. Firstly, stealth.
Alright, let's look at our food production. Dude, our agriculture is... Alright, let's go into these. Alright, production... Alright, production is lacking. So... Let's privatize this, and we're going to invest at least half of that into getting that up. So let's do this. Alright, so that was 38. Let's go with around... Let's go with 17 million. Alright, so they agreed. Venezuela agreed. Cuba. Iran. And Russia. So that's really good for us. Beer. Do we really need... Alright. That's fully... That's going to bring in 130 million. So yeah, let's go with that. let's not get too carried away with just agriculture. All right, so we don't produce anything for aluminum. Don't have any aircraft carriers. Armed pickup trucks, that's really not effective. Let's look at bottled water. So if maybe we do 2 million for bottled water, that should help. Um, Cement is under. Let's go with about 5 million. Copper, 0.19. We're still under with that. So copper, let's do about 3 million. Fuel cell batteries. Let's do about 4 million. And let's just let that play out for a little bit. Um, let's look at, all right, our debt. We still have a surplus. A surplus of about 6.5 billion. So we don't want to blow that at all. Let's look at currency, inflation. Okay, yeah, inflation is starting to drop. If we can get inflation down to around 2%, that could be very good for us. All right, justice. All right, let's look at, yeah, let's look at, all right, prison. All right, so the occupancy rate. Yeah, so our prisons are overcrowded. Homicide rate went up since we took over.
I would like to draw your attention to the short.
All right, I already know the military lacks men. That's why we already have it set to recruit 450,000 or another 200,000. All right, let's go to police. Yeah, our crime rate has gone up. Um, let's see. All right, let's increase public safety for the local police districts. Um, Public safety. No, cancel that. Public safety. Yeah, we're gonna spend not that much. All right, yeah, we'll spend 4 million, almost 5 million on public safety. For police, maybe a good number would be, let's go with 110. That's going to be 2.3 million. Have to protect the business that we're going to have coming in. Okay. All right, so let's go to research. And yeah, we're going to have to really, really ramp this up. So definitely need agriculture. We're going to need energy. How do we want to do this? All right, about matter science. So, all right, so our excess has dropped significantly. Um, let's, all right, so let's just, how much would it cost if we just did everything to this point? That's going to be 3 million, so we'll do that.
The decree takes effect as of today.
All right, unemployment is okay. I know why that is. It's because of it's
The
because
decree
of
takes effect as of today.
it's because of privatizing. So hopefully that number should drop. Um, let's go to workforce unemployment. So let's do this. 1.8 into hiring more, do integration for the handicap. That's 424,000. All right, so there's no way we can drop unemployment payments down with 11% unemployment. So we're gonna
The
have to let
decree
this
takes
play out.
effect as of today.
After privatizing this sector, it will be hard to say right away whether we will come out on top financially. Selling our shares was definitely a success and will provide money up front, but on the other hand, this was a very dynamic sector that let us bring in substantial profits each year. Hindsight will, of course, be 2020.
Okay. All right, so let's go to housing. And what we're going to do is I'm going to try to rehabilitate 600 homes. And we'll probably just do 600 each time.
I would like to talk to you about ground-to-ground artillery and self-propelled guns. These are machines that are certainly less devastating and less precise than missile launchers, but they are easier to produce or acquire. They fire mortar rounds, also much easier to make and less expensive than missiles, but their rate of fire is higher. When used in large numbers, they are very effective at bombarding enemy positions.
All right, let's look at all right, so we have 5,988 missiles. Well, let's get that up to let's get that up to 6,000. Let's see how many. Let's do 12. It's 144 million. That's going to be a little too much. What about 5? That's still really expensive. So we're going to have to wait until our economy gets a lot better before we do that. But mortar rounds should be a lot less. So what if we did 150? Do 1,500. That's going to be 1.5 million. So let's go ahead with that. See how that works.
The decree takes effect as of today.
After privatizing this sector, it will be hard to say.
Alright, suicide drones. Alright. So let's look at. Alright, so our GDP is definitely wait a minute. See how much of a surplus. Okay, we had our debt drop a little bit. Public debt. Let's just look at that. Alright, so we still have a surplus of 4.5 billion. So it's gonna cost about 69,000. Okay, so it's gonna cost us 1.73 million. We'll go ahead and accept that. Okay.
This would be a good...
Well done. You have just signed your first contract.
I would like to draw your attention to our social media surveillance service. We need more resources because it is mostly there that modern plagues and threats.
Alright. Let's go to Secret Service. And let's bump up agent training. Let's do that. So 507 analysts. Alright, let's do that. Um, 28 million is going to be too much. Alright, so we're going to be forced to do the bronze. Let's wait. Let's wait until after the first quarter, and then we'll do a little bit more investing into the cybersecurity. Let's take a look at see where our networks are. So we have 125 in the US, 100 in South Korea, 25 in Japan. Want to increase the number in Japan, so we're gonna ask for 30 more agents. Alright, let's look at our taxes. Alright, let's do... Alright, tobacco. I'm gonna do a 5% tax on tobacco. Um, let's look at the revenue we're already bringing in. Alright, so we can't do anything with that. It's too expensive. Alright, let's go back to... Alright, let's go to research again. I want to increase our food production. So we're going to invest that. And let's look at education. We're going to have to ramp that up too. And let's look at our debt. So we're looking at about 3.9 billion. All right, so wealth tax, if we increase that to 92 million, that can, yeah, we could definitely use that. Inheritance tax. We'll leave that alone. Real estate tax, can we? No, we can't drop that. That's 400 million we're bringing in. All right, company tax, can we drop that? Um, so I'm bringing in 92 million. So we can drop that by... All right, let's go through with that. So that should help companies and businesses. All right. We don't have the money for a nuclear power plant. It would literally destroy our entire economy because of it being so expensive. All right, so unemployment has leveled out, and hopefully we can start seeing the reverse happen. Inflation. Okay, inflation's leveling out too. So we'll see what happens. Let's let that play out before we do anything to that. All right, let's go back to industry. All right, that brings in 197 million. let's look at... Okay, growth is at 7.4%. It's starting to taper off now. All right, let's go to construction. All right, so for 5 years, take 2 months. All right, we're going to wait. Let's go back to waiting until April 1st. All right, immigration. Number of illegal immigrants, 100. All right, so let's look to see what equipment we have at some of these bases. How much would it cost us to improve the military training? It's almost $500 million. So, nope, not doing that.
The decree takes effect as of today.
All right, let's take a look again. All right, so our surplus is now down to 3.55 billion. So let's speed this up. Alright, so we have a decent sized air force for a country this size. Our Navy is not the greatest.
The decree takes effect as of today. The decree takes effect as of today.
Alright, inflation is going up. Alright, happiness increases. Alright, so let's see, how much would it cost? Alright, if we raise research up to 1 from, what was it at first? From 15 to 18. Alright, let's look at our debt again. 3.23 billion. Huh? How's my deficit like 45? Oh, I hate when this game does that. Alright, so I should still have about 3.25 billion in revenue as a surplus. And let's look at the military, see how many. Alright, so we have about an additional 20,000 since the beginning of this episode. Alright, crime rate. Crime rate is dropping, so that's good. Alright, ID strong. Okay, we'll leave it at that. So what if we do this? That's 4.6 million. So we're not going to do that at all. Alright, so we have 2.8 billion in our treasury reserve. So that's good. That's really good. Um, Alright, so we could pay this off. Let's try to let it accumulate a little more. Alright, so actually, let's try to. Yeah, let's do a trade deal with Vietnam. That should that should help. Let's see if we can get one with China too. But I think maybe we're gonna have to better our relations with them. Alright, public finances, that's going up. And unemployment is starting to drop, so that's exactly what we want. We need that to drop by another 8% roughly. So I think I'm going to end this episode. So, thank you so much for the support for this channel. Of course, I'm not dropping videos as much as I'd like to. Um, I definitely would like to do more than one a week. And I'm going to try to work on that. So until then, thanks again for watching and see you soon.